Hey everybody, Jillian here. Welcome back to my channel. I've got a new Traveler's Notebook process video for you today. You guys responded really well to the one that I shared last week, so I thought I'd do another one. I've had this Beloved Society collection from Illustrated Faith and DaySpring for a while, and for some reason I haven't used it. But today I want to use it. I have the perfect thing to journal about, document. I think that'll go along with it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my insert out of my notebook here. This is the spread that I shared last week, so I'm just going to work on the back side of that. I don't have the whole collection here, but I have some washi tape, the sticker booklet, which I think is one of the best deals in this collection. These tip-ins are really fun. I love that they're double-sided, so I'll be sure to use one of those today. And then the collection of cardstock paper pieces, and so I'm going to use 5 different gals from this paper piece set. I've got some acrylic paint that I'll use for my background because I love the colors that Beth used in her collection. And then you can see I've got some jumbo grid labels off to the side from Elaine Davis that are available in the Print and Pray shop. So since I'm going to do some painting, I decided to pull out my Bible mat just to protect the pages that are already done behind this spread. And to get paint down, I'm going to use a paint card just to swipe the color on, and then I just like to clean that off with a baby wipe. So now I've got all my tools ready and I'm ready to go. So I'm using some acrylic paint, mostly from Target. I will list the colors that I used down in the video description below in case you want to try something similar. I'm just going to put a little paint on the edge of the card and swipe it around. There's really no rhyme or reason. I just wanted to get color kind of all over the place and using different application techniques. So you can see I just kind of put some broad strokes on the page with that robin's egg color, and then I'm using the edge of the card just to put some lines down with this more chartreuse color. Next I'll go in with Sherbet and put some really small streaks, or just little dabs around. So you can see that for each color there's a different way that I'm applying it to the background. I decided to go in with some more of this color as my favorite, and I really wanted to pull this out from Beth's pieces. And then for this jade color, I'm going to use this media tool from Dina Wakley. I really like these because they clean up super easy. They're made of silicone, and so instead of going in and washing your paintbrushes, all you need to do is just wipe off the paint with a baby wipe or a wet paper towel or napkin or whatever, and you're all set to go. And they're double-sided, so you can alternate between the size of your dots. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put that to the side and let it dry. So a friend and I just started studying Matthew, and of course we're starting with the genealogy that's in Matthew 1. And so that's what this spread is about. I'm just documenting some takeaways from my time looking at the genealogy, and then also some things that we learned when looking at Genesis, because right before we started Matthew we had finished Genesis. So that's what this whole spread is for. And so there are 5 women listed in the genealogy of Christ that in Matthew 1, and I've selected a gal for each woman, and I'm just going to write a little bit about her on my spread. So we've got Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, Bathsheba, who isn't even named by name, and Mary in the genealogy. And so I had to kind of write on the back who was who so I didn't forget. I chose this girl from Mary because she looked the youngest of all of the ones that were included in the die cut pack. And I'm also going to make her a little shorter by letting her hang off the edge and cutting off the excess. I used one of those tip-ins and flipped it over so that it was just the pink grid side because I wanted to do a little writing there, and then layered that Beloved sticker over it. And then I'm going in with Elaine's jumbo grid labels here. I love having these to use as a place to house journaling and stuff. And then off camera, while I was waiting for my spread to dry, I went through the paper pack and isolated all of those pieces on this side, and you can see that I'm just choosing here where to put them. So once I have all of these pieces down, then I'll go in with my next step. So like I mentioned, there are 5 women listed in Jesus' genealogy, which I think is unusual in this culture, but Matthew is sure to include them for a reason. One of the things I thought was really fun for this spread was the sticker sheet. It has adjectives on here underneath each one of these gals that say things like resourceful, artsy, brave, courageous, kind, things like that. And so there were some adjectives that I felt like went really well with these women. Like Tamar, I put down the resourceful sticker for her, and courageous for Rahab. And I'm just going to go through and do that for most of the gals here. So next I'm going to go ahead and stamp down each one of their names using the Storyteller typed alpha set from Illustrated Faith and some Stays on Jet Black ink. I'm not going to make you watch me do each one of them. I'm just going to do the one and then I'll fast forward so you can see the next part of my process. So at first glance, a genealogy in the Bible can seem really boring. There's a lot of names, most of them we can't even pronounce, and it just is like a chore to get through it almost. But what I've learned in studying through Genesis and now in Matthew is that genealogies are there not just simply to list out generations, but more often to make a point. I think the first thing that we glean from this genealogy in Matthew 1 is God's faithfulness to just preserve this lineage from Abraham to David to Jesus. I think this genealogy spans something like 1900 years, and God has been faithful to preserve his covenant with his people despite all that we know happened from Abraham with Hagar to David with Bathsheba. I just love how it highlights God's patience and his sovereignty and his faithfulness. Another thing that is really interesting about this genealogy is that 4 of the 5 women that are listed are Gentiles. 2 of them are Canaanites, Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah the Hittite, and Ruth the Moabite. So these are women who at one point in their lives worshipped false gods, and they are now included in the lineage of Jesus Christ. I mean, let alone the fact that they're women and in their own cultural context considered second-class citizens. Here we see them in the King of Kings genealogy. So I pretty much wrote all of my notes for each one of these women, and I'm just writing here how remarkable it is that they're included. So now that I've got all my handwriting down, I'm going to go back to the sticker sheet. There's not much room to add anything else, but I'm going to find some room. And I'm going to just use a bunch of different hearts to kind of layer on top of some of these labels and paper pieces and other like phrase stickers. And then I'll add my date stamp up towards the top. And that'll do it. So here's a finished look at my spread. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you soon.